The use of technology in personnel selection. In the last few decades, the face of personnel selection has changed due to the increased use of information technology for administering, delivering, and scoring tests. So, the use of the internet in selection is nowadays simply a necessity for firms to stay competitive. The efficiency and consistency of test delivery are some of the key benefits of internet-based selection over computerized selection. Extra cost and time savings occur because neither the employer nor the applicants have to be present at the same location. The good news is that research generally lends support to the use of the internet as a way of delivering tests. So, it found acceptable cross-mode correlation for non-cognitive tests. When we say non-cognitive skills, these are related to motivation, integrity, and interpersonal interaction. And cognitive skills involve conscious, intellectual efforts such as thinking, reasoning, or remembering. Timed tests, however, were an exception. For instance, cross-mode equivalence of a timed spatial reasoning test as low as 0.44. It is the loading speed inherent in internet-based testing because it seems to make the test different from its paper and pencil counterpart. It is a traditional way. The paper and pencil assessments may require countless hours of reviewing. On the other hand, using technology in the recruitment process reduces human errors. Another advantages of the increased use of technological tools in selection and sorting is the reduction of human dependency. The increased efficiency of technology-mediated interviews such as video conferencing interviews, telephone interviews, interactive voice response telephone interviews will also lead to a potential downsides as compared to face-to-face interviews, although it should be mentioned that actual job pursuit behavior was not examined. On the other hand, unproctored internet testing has been more controversial. In this type of testing, a test administrator is absent during the test administration. It might lead to the candidate authentication, cheating, and other test security concerns. That serves as disadvantages of using these kinds of assessment. So, as a possible solution, some organizations have moved towards a two-tiered approach whereby unproctored internet-based tests of cognitive ability and knowledge are administered for screening purposes only, such as basic information about the candidates and so on. So, followed by on-site proctored administration of a parallel test for those passing the online version. Also, using secure technology, online proctoring is a viable alternative to on-site testing. Verification procedures are used to examine whether the same person completed both tests or alternatively. Only the proctored test is used for final hiring decisions. So, some of organizations combine this two-tiered approach, which is the unproctored internet-based test and on-site proctored administration of a parallel test with item response and item generation techniques so that candidates seldom receive the same test items to avoid cheating. This requires considerable investment because large databases of questions must be generated and the difficulty level of each item must be determined to ensure parallel tests are generated each time. Personnel selection in an international context. The face of personnel selection has changed not only due to rapid technological developments. The globalization of the economy has also considerably affected personnel selection practices and researches. And one well-known HR consequences of this rapid internationalization is the need to develop selection procedures that can be validly used to predict expatriate success. This internationalization causes organizations to move beyond national borders, as reflected in international collaborations, joint ventures, strategic alliances, mergers, and acquisitions. One of the problems is that the selection of people for foreign assignments has traditionally been based solely on job knowledge and technical competence. A meta-analysis of predictors of expatriate success revealed that there are many more possibilities. It enables the analysis of human personality based on observations carried out by clinical practices. So when we talk about human personality based, um, this will come up with the big five personality factors, or also known as OCEAN or OCEAN. So the first one, openness. It is a person's tendency to think abstractly. And second one, conscientiousness. It is a person's level of goal, orientation, and persistence. And third, extraversion. It is a person's inclination to seek stimulation from the outside world, especially in the form of attention of other people. So the fourth one is agreeableness. The the extent to which a person prioritizes needs of others over their own needs. And lastly, the neuroticism. It is a person's tendency to respond to stressors with negative emotions, including fear, sadness, anxiety, guilt, and shame. So, in this meta-analysis, four of the big five personality factors, not including the openness, were predictive of expatriate job performance. So, a problem with the large body of research on predictors of expatriate success is that research has mainly tried to determine a list of interpersonal factors responsible for expatriate adjustment versus failure. So another consequence of the increasing internationalization is the need for selection systems that can be used across multiple countries while at the same time recognizing local particularities. Apart from country differences ground in cultural values, the uncertainty, avoidance, and power distance also explain some of the variability in selection usage. So, for example, countries such as Australia, Canada, Germany, and United States assign great importance to proven work experience in a similar job and technical skills for deciding whether someone should have the job. While in companies in Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, it placed a relatively low weight on job-related skills. So in these countries, people's innate potential and teamwork skills were much more important. We need to know how one can gain acceptance for specific selection procedures among HR decision makers and candidates. A final pressing issue for organizations that use selection procedures in other cultures deals with knowing whether a specific selection procedure is transportable to another culture and whether the criterion-related validity of the selection procedure is generalizable. The importance of predictor criterion matching can be illustrated with assessment center exercises. The dimensions and exercises that are typically used in assessment centers in North America and Europe might less be relevant in other countries. So sometimes in a high power distance culture, candidates are extremely uncomfortable engaging in role plays. So this does not imply that such exercise will be invalid in these cultures. The question here is, are these exercises indeed relevant for the criterion domain that one tries to predict in these cultures? Levins, Harris, Van Keer, and Biscaret. In 2003, they examined whether two assessment center exercises were valid predictors of European executives' training performance in Japan. So, they found that a group discussion exercise was a powerful predictor of future performance as rated by Japanese supervisors later on. So, and according to Levins, one explanation is that the group discussion exercise reflected the Japanese team-based decision-making culture. Another hypothesis put forth by Levins is that the predictor construct, especially cognitive ability, will often be similar across cultures, but the behavioral content and measurement of these predictors will vary across cultures. This might mean that ratings in non-personality situations, such as assessment centers or interviews, might be prone to cultural sensitivity because there is a sample evidence that the behavioral expressions and interpretations for common constructs measured might differ from one culture to another.